righty then.
Here we
Welcome
are.
everybody to another
Walking the
episode of Walking
Crossroads.
the Crossroads. Yes, sir. I would like to say hello to you, Mr. Darren Bucare. Good to see you, sir.
Feeling great.
Wonderful.
Wonderful day today. It's a wonderful Sunday fun day. That sort of
Sunday is
thing.
a fun day. Yeah, I just spent my
Yes,
whole
yes.
day at Marie's in Louisiana, which I heard you're from. We'll get to that in a minute. Today we have on Mandy Wilde of Wilde Medium. Obviously, she's a medium. She's a book writer. We'll get to that. She does classes. She does an online Hekate coven. We're going to get to all of that. But just first of all, we'd like to say welcome, Mandy. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And literally just found out you had ties to Louisiana. So already my heart is gushing. So
Yes, indeed.
We just filmed a show for the British Broadcasting Sky Network called Robin Renesh versus New Orleans Spirits at an old haunted opera house. Yeah. So,
oh, wow.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool. Very
Oh,
cool.
I cannot wait
Oh
for
my
that
gosh.
to come out. Yes, indeed.
That'll be exciting.
So
September, I believe. Yeah.
you're in Los
Nice.
Angeles, so I'm jealous of you. Because like I said,
Don't be. We're here for you to visit anytime.
no, I mean, it's my home, and anyone that's there that gets to visit Crooked Path, like you do, and visit Sal and Popey and Scarlet and all the wild witches over there. Love those guys. So I'm sure you get to go there once in a while. Yes.
Love them. Sal's got that. Sal and Popey have this wonderful, as you know, temple to Hekate, and I am a devotee of Hekate, as you probably know.
Yes,
so
indeed. Yes.
I get to go there and visit with them, and they have wonderful events that they host there always, and then of course show my love at the temple.
Yeah, I love that second floor temple. I was there when they were building it, and I'm just so proud to have seen that happen, and what they've been doing is really great. So
Yes.
Peace to them and all of that. Now, I wanted to start off by asking you a question we like to ask our guests, especially on the magical path. Your magical origin story. So we're basically asking, like, what was your childhood like? How did you come to the spiritual path? And I know that you have a funny, I thought it was funny, but it's a story about Santa Claus.
Yes.
Right. So I know you've told that story before, but if you could, for our people here that are watching, could you tell that story? Because that's a good intro to you.
I will. First off, thank you for having me on. My name is Mandy Wilde. I'm a medium, like you said. I do astrology, and of course, a devotee to Hekate, and I work a lot with the divine feminine in general. But my origin story actually starts in Louisiana as well, because I was born in Louisiana, but northern Louisiana, and it was a very small town. Very small.
Is it around Shreve or?
It is east of Shreveport. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There he is.
Minden.
Yeah. Sure. I've been there a bunch of times. No, I haven't, but I haven't.
Minden.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was a very young child when I realized that I was seeing things that maybe other people were not, which is normal for a child, I think, right? Yeah.
Sure.
And
it was for me, but
right?
And me.
I'm not your typical. Yeah,
right.
It was for me.
Yeah.
We're as mediums, we've been seeing, I'm sure, for most of our life. But I was raised in a very religious household. Being from Louisiana, you probably are familiar with United Pentecostal.
Sure.
So we didn't cut our hair, we didn't have a television, we did not have the particular sect that I was raised in. We didn't have a Christmas tree, all the things. So one year, I was around like 5, I believe, and my parents said, we're going to get a Christmas tree. This was like super going against the church's back and doing something super naughty. But we got a Christmas tree. And I remember my mom said, whatever, you can't just get out of your bed at all hours of the night and just go and like hang out in front of this. Like, it's there in the daytime. You can like bask in its glory.
Right.
And I was like super excited about this. Keep in mind too, we were told also at an early age, Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Right.
Sorry, young children, if you heard that. Santa Claus does exist.
Excuse us.
Santa Claus does
Okay.
exist. Don't let me spoil
Santa
that
Claus
magic.
is great, but keep going. Yeah.
But I was told, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Okay, whatever. So they put the tree up, and I got up to go to the bathroom in the night. I was like, oh, I'm going to go see this tree, because we had never had one. So I like kind of like tiptoed down the hall and like looked in my sister's room. She was still very young and asleep. And then I like had to pass my parents' room, and they were asleep. And I got to the living room, and it was just so beautiful. I'm still a sucker for a good Christmas tree. It was so beautiful to me, twinkling, and right in front of it was a figure of a man. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, this must be the Santa Claus. You put the tree up, the Santa Man comes. Boom.
Right, yeah.
So I waved, and just this figure kind of did this like very slow turn.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And like he didn't wave back at me, but just like this like turn while I'm waving, completely like the face kind of innocuous, like just kind of deep set, nothing very clear.
Right.
But then like the head kind of just like turned back toward this like lit up tree. I sat there for a while, and I'm like, okay, there's something to this. If you build it, they will come.
Indeed. Yeah. Santa Claus actually comes. Yeah.
Santa Claus comes. But then I went back into my went back going to my room, and I stopped at my parents. I said, like, Mommy, Daddy, like Santa Claus came.
Oh.
And like, you go back to bed. What are you doing? We told you not to get. I'm like, no, he's in the living room. And my dad just like freaked out, like grabs a bat, runs into the living room, and is like looking all around. And I'm just like watching him, like, whoa, what are you doing?
How old you are?
I was around like five-ish, five, maybe
yeah,
6.
okay.
And I was just like pointing to this looked like a man to me.
Sure.
And he told me to go back to bed, and I was just very excited, and I went back to bed, and I'm sure he was very freaked out, and that started a long list of events of that person's there, or that person's there, or like,
Right.
Mommy, that person's there, and them not being super not
So you weren't
happy about
supported.
it.
You weren't supported as a young mystic in your
No.
household.
Pentecostal family. Yeah, that's
right.
that's hard.
No.
That's a tough one.
Right.
But it's funny, because it's not, I grew up in the church, so people were, getting the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, and being
Did they do
moved.
snake handling too? In that
They did snake handling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I have an
Oh, sorry, go
addendum
ahead.
story, which is fun. Like, so I used to cut school, and I'm in the snow in Cleveland, Ohio, right? So there's all the snow everywhere, snow mountains. They're like 10 feet high. And I would cut Catholic school with my 2 friends, and we'd walk home and do whatever, like 4th graders do to get in trouble. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I started seeing, I was maybe a year or 2 older than you, and that was maybe 3rd grade. And I would see, there would be this house, and there would always be some sort of elemental creature. It looked like it took the form of a snowman, and it had this menacing, it was like right out of It or something. Like, I shouldn't be seeing this as a kid. And it was definitely menacing and definitely negative energy. And I could see it every time when I walked by this house. And it scared the pajamas out of me, but I didn't know what the hell that was. And of course, how do you explain that to somebody? You just don't.
And it's interesting because spirits don't always come in the form that you think they're going to come in. So, maybe they have the form of a man, but definitely there were not any features on this particular spirit that I saw.
Yeah.
But if I'm dealing with like ancestors or past loved ones, then they come into a bit more focus. But if you're dealing with other types of entities, sometimes those shapes don't look human at all, and so
No.
it's a lot more difficult, I think, to try to describe
And
that to someone.
and can I say, when you described it turning like that, I've seen that so many times, so I know like you're right on the money, because I've seen they don't need to walk or move their legs. It's just
it just
a
kind of
thought, and then they just swivel. Yeah, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, and the color or the density is always for me, for some, if it's someone I'm not connected to personally, or I'm connecting to uh with a client, if it's just like a spirit that's in maybe an apartment, or I've I have a story for when I was in undergrad as well, but the 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 tone of the spirit can change, but a lot of times it'll be kind of like ochre, or like a muted muddy brownish
I was
It
color.
looks
getting
like an
ochre
old
from your
photograph.
story.
Like
But that man, he still
Yeah,
looked
he
like
was.
ochre or almost off gray, but like closer to like between brown and gray. Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yes,
Yeah.
like an
exactly.
old photo from the
Mm-hmm.
70s, but it's in modern times, and you're like, what is that? Yeah,
Like, what is that?
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's there. When I was in undergrad, when I was we were about in I was in third grade when my folks moved us to New Mexico, and that's where I ended up like growing up.
Oh,
um
okay. So yeah,
but
that's
well,
a
we would go back,
whole other different desert spiritual
whole other
experience. Yeah.
bag of spirits. uh
Yeah.
like spirit, like in Louisiana, it's things are very like dense, and like the
Yeah.
climate, like
Yeah.
even like supports that. And in New Mexico, it's you can get like spirits, like it looks like they're almost like running through, like it's
Whoa.
Yeah.
vastly different. But what I was going to say, well, I would go back every summer to live with my grandparents in Louisiana. So that was a whole other thing. But in undergrad, I worked at the library, and it was for a particular area of the library called the Center for Southwest Research. And
Okay.
we had this like tower, and the books that we dealt with were rare. And so they would start at like the fifth floor and go up to I think it was the ninth. I could be mistaken
Right.
how many floors it was. But when I went into interview, I remember the person interviewing me was like, do you scare easy? And I was like, I thought that was an odd question. And I was like, I mean, not really.
Right.
And they're like, okay, are you afraid to be alone in a room by yourself? And I was like, what? No. And it turned out that there was a spirit that was on one of the floors. And the room was the Anderson reading room at University of
Okay.
New Mexico. And uh, so he had this like, let me say, the reading room, excuse me, was not the floors, but that was like where I was working. And you had to get permission from like the dean or the head of your department to check out some of these books, because they were like in acid free binding, and you have to wear
Sure.
gloves and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But
So
I
cool.
was up there. It is really cool. I was up there shelving, and you would have a phone that could be called from like the front desk, and
Right.
they would say, it would just ring, and I'd pick it up, and they'd say, can you pull whatever book? And then I would go pull it and bring it down. Well, there was just one elevator that operated, like just me. And I was up there one day, and I was like shelving some books, and I felt really cold. I was like, oh, I'm not alone. Okay.
Right.
So, and at this point I had been like working with spirits for a while, but I was like, as one does as a medium, I introduced myself, because I can feel I'm in its space, not that it's the other way around. And
Sure.
so I'm like, hey, but my name is Mandy. I am shelving books here. Like, am I disturbing something that is making you uncomfortable? And nothing. I'm like, all right. So I go on shelving and a book falls out. And I was like, oh,
I was waiting for that.
okay.
I was waiting to see a book fall out. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Like,
that's cool.
okay.
Yeah.
So I picked it up
Was
and
it
put
the
it back
Malus
in.
Maleficarium or something? Everybody poops. Everyone poops.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
I wasn't smart enough then to have looked at the book and then
Right.
I should now I would have been like, what book is falling off the shelf?
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Well,
What's
yeah.
that sign? Yeah.
What book?
Yeah.
What page am I wanting to open to? But then I put it back and I'm like, okay, I'm shelving. Boom, another one goes off, and I was like, okay.
My.
I was like,
Oh my.
and I was like, I don't like how this is going,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not appreciated. So I put it back, and another one goes off. I was like, all right, that's it. I'm coming back at a different time. So I walk over to push the elevator, and the elevator should just open up because it's just me. That is just me that works here. And the elevator does not go anywhere else. Doesn't open.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. So I pick up the phone to ring. It instantly rings to the front desk. Nothing. No tone, no nothing. And I was like, good Lord. And I turn and look through the stacks. And right as I look to the back of the room through the stacks, I just see this spirit kind of go similar to how the one I was describing it at Christmas time.
The movement you were saying, yeah.
Very, and then does like that kind of like looks.
Yeah.
Again,
Did it look right at you?
In color, looked right at me, and I got a distinctive face though, and I just like all the feels. The door opens, I go down, and I like run to the front desk part of my section, and I was like, what have you not told me about this job? And they were like, oh, you saw. And I said, saw, and had books. And they're like, okay, so here's the deal. The room, these books these rare books were donated by this particular person, Mr. Anderson. And he overlooks them. And I guess in the 70s, there was like a break-in, if I'm not mistaken. And I could be botching this because this undergrad was a very long time ago. But some Nazis came in and like defaced and like fucked up some of this collection. And so I was like, he doesn't know me, and this is he's being very protective of his collection. So I remember walking into the reading room, which was separate, and there was a huge portrait of him. And I like looked at the portrait and I was like, oh my gosh, that is the man.
Right.
It's the guy. It's the guy.
That's the guy.
Damn,
So
Nazis ruin everything for everybody, don't they? Yeah,
the Nazis ruined it all.
Damn Nazis every time.
Damn Nazis, I tell you.
So I the next shift I had, I went to the 7-Eleven and got some like, little candy Smarties that was in a plastic, and like just some little tokens of gratitude that I could just kind of hide by the telephone, and like not around the books, but like where I could kind of stick around. And I just went in and started talking. I was like, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I get your deal. I understand the history. This is my job. I need it to go to school, and we're going to work in tandem. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm shelving books. I maybe had a couple of more books at one point go over. And I said, you know what? I'm the one that has to make the cover for these books that you are protecting. I was like, not cool. Like, let's establish something right here, right now. I am a friend.
Right.
And I'm here to protect your books. Okay. And then nothing. He never like flipped anything over, but I would feel when he was there. Back then I did ask him not to show himself to me, because seeing things that clearly was still a little jarring.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's a good lesson to think about when you go into a situation and there's activity and you're not comfortable with it. You have to set boundaries.
Bingo.
Because if
people don't understand, they have the power to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
rarely see anything that I'm not really, if I'm not opening a channel to it, and I do a lot of manifesting for people. But the last time I went to like I think the Maria plantation or something right outside New Orleans, and they're telling the story of this guy who murdered his brother and took over the plantation with a fireplace poker, and he's standing in the corner right where they're describing the murder with the fireplace poker in his hand, waving it around at me, and I'm like, I don't want to see this guy. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not. By the way, yeah, I don't want to go to the slave court. I don't want to go to any of that. No plantation tour
No, thank you.
ever again, dude. No, I'm good
Don't
on
put a
that.
sensitive in a situation like that. That's not cool.
No, just not like no.
No, it's, you know, we live on this plane.
Yeah.
They are crossing over, you know, to ours. We have to set boundaries with that. Now, as a medium, when I am connecting with their world and I'm trying to go into like connect in their spirit, the spirit realm, that's not my realm. Like
Right.
I do the things. I have my protection. I invite my guides. I invite Hekate. I have certain like boundaries that I put in place. And I tell people, you know, people get really nervous about making a connection with the spirit. And I totally understand. But I always have to remind them, you have the power here. They do not. You set a boundary. Now, like any curious being, think of a child, right? Any curious being, they're going to need some boundaries themselves, right?
Sure.
And sometimes I have to talk to spirits like they are like, like now, not your turn. You can wait.
Right.
We're listening to this one.
Everybody has their own will. And especially when you're a physical being and you're dealing with non-physical things, you have the right to say that I'm in this space, you can coexist in this space, but I'm not going to be pushed out of this space because I'm in it as well. And I'm being respectful towards you. I want you to be respectful towards me, or we can bring it to another level. You know what I mean? Like there has to be that kind of respect. So you did mention Hekate. I did want to ask you, because obviously you're very along the path in that situation. How did she call to you, and what was that like? Because a lot of people
got to
get
help
called
you
by
as a
her.
medium, because life and death and the conduit there.
Psychopomp, liminal states, you know, guiding spirits to where they are safe under you know, in the realm they're supposed to be in. Hekate has been calling to me for a very long time, but I did not realize that forever. I know now that she was around when I was a young child. You've probably heard on my other podcast me talking about I don't know if this is like sexual abuse. Is that okay to talk about here?
Sure.
Or
Yes.
yeah. So I believe now that she was there through that, and that is where I first encountered her. Now, did I know it was her at the time? Absolutely not. I was a child, and then I was a teenager, etc. I did not even know of Hekate, but I knew of her flavor, right? You as a, if you are in her court at all, you just know that flavor. And that's why when you start, it comes into focus, you're like, oh my God, that is exactly what I was feeling. Well, when I was a child, I was sexually abused repeatedly from my grandfather. And I remember it's okay. I've had a mound of therapy.
Yeah.
No, we have to take a moment to say that we are sorry.
We are
that.
no, we really And I just have to say that other guests we've had on that bring up Hekate have all had a something dramatic and visceral happen like that. So it's not a surprise. Yeah.
And you know, I was very young, and when I mentioned Louisiana, it was when I would go back and live with my grandparents for a few months in the summer, and my sister and I kind of shared a bed, And I would always see around those times it would happen a witch in the corner. And I remember asking my sister, like, do you see that witch in the corner?
Right.
Sometimes she'd say yes, sometimes she'd say no.
Right.
But
She is there to protect both of y'all too. So
she was there to protect us. And but like I know now with a Hekate too, or any divine, it's not like they're going to step through and physically like bring you out of it. Is holding space. It is an anchor of sort. How I like to see a Hekate at that time in my life, an anchor of sort for me to be like, oh, there is something there holding space. Well, as the years progressed, that particular witch, because this was not something that I could see in full. It was a presence. It was dark. It was shrouded. I never have seen the face of this particular spirit. I don't think personally, I don't see the faces of spirits like that, gods and goddesses, deities. That's what I meant. So,
sure.
But as I grew older, that corner would start to be occupied by women I could see. And later finding out from my mom that this is just a long lineage of shit that has, generational sexual trauma. That's just,
oh my gosh,
it's a thing. It's a thing. And it kills me to say, but it happened to her. It happened to her mom. It happened to her mom's mom, et cetera, et cetera. So I now know that those were ancestors coming forward to hold that space. And to me, is not a Hekate us, is not a Hekate our loved ones, is not a Hekate the guide of the liminal, right? Of when you are in a liminal state, which that absolutely is. And what we are in all the time, unless you're someone that's just like, and this is all I do ever is sit super happy right here, and I don't have to make a decision about anything. No,
Indeed.
a Hekate is every day. A Hekate is everywhere. A Hekate is all the time.
And you have that matrilineal thread of power that was there for you to access to protect yourself. That's beautiful.
I think a lot about the triple goddess, and I think I work with the divine feminine, but I think the triplicity of the triple goddess does not actually do justice to what that means.
We just had this conversation literally with Scarlett.
We really did.
Did you really?
Literally just did, because she was saying that Hekate isn't the triple goddess that everyone says as the maiden mother crone. She's more like the underworld, the crossroads, and the spirit world. It's more of a hermetic thing.
And as a goddess of sorcery too. Yeah. Just if you think about the ability to transmute reality, I mean, that's just wow.
I wouldn't be able to recognize that was a Hekate if I hadn't been at this stage in my life now and been able to retro causality, going between like the lifetimes, even in this one lifetime that I've lived, and to go back and recognize that anchor there, you know what I mean? But like the triplicity, when I was doing divination with a Hekate, I once heard this, and I'm writing an essay about this right now. Her say, where are the rest? If I am the triple goddess, where are that makes no sense. Where's the rest of I'm not three, where's the rest of me? And it made me like, yes, exactly. So.
Well, it's kind of saying that you don't understand anything if you put it in a box. And you can't just give every single goddess in the Wiccan tradition or whatever. They're all triple goddesses. It's all maiden mother crone. It's like everything's the same and just like across the board slap that opinion on there, because there's, Diana is not Hekate. Like they're not the same.
I
You know what
know.
I'm saying? Like
Odin
they're
has
just,
Think
they're just
31
not.
names.
Yeah.
right.
Alegba Eshu has 32 names. It's just like endless incarnations. And it depends on what culture, what realm, what island we're talking about. I mean,
Sure.
it really,
Exactly.
yeah,
The
you know.
conflation, they can conflate with one another, like
Hmm.
I it, you can feel different representations of the particular goddess or god that you're working with, and be able to, well, it's kind of like, all right, I want I want Fun Raven. Okay, I'm gonna call Fun Raven to go and like hang out and do this thing. Or if I want like a really deep conversation, I might call, my friend so and so. There, you can kind of like you
Well, Fun Raven's
can.
pretty cool when you can find him sometimes.
Hey
Oh
now.
He's
yeah.
pretty. He's not a bad hang. Yeah, it's
I
pretty
do
good.
all
I
right.
use that because
Okay.
I'm like,
What you
Raven,
what you're saying
gotta be.
also is that you have your monthly coven, and I saw that you also do different avatars of Hekate to
I
represent different
do.
moons at different moments. So that goes into that, where it's like you're looking at a legion of spirits that are called Hekate, but they have all these different avatars, and they're when you're dealing with crossroads spirits or ones that have keys to the afterlife, they're always represented in such a myriad of ways. So I think
Yeah.
that's something to note, obviously. And could you tell everybody what you do in your online coven?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to. So, I am the high priestess of a coven called a Nomine Hekate, but twice a month I open it up to the public and I host a dark moon and a full moon gathering. And
That's
on
cool.
each of these particular gatherings, and it's open, it's free, anyone can join. It's all are welcome. My goal is that it is a space to offer a place for people to connect spiritually, right, and strengthen our bonds, express our gratitude to the goddess Hekate.
Mhm.
But I feel like my service to Hekate is to keep talking about her so that people can understand, if they are just curious even, that it's much more than what they've seen or what they've heard online or what they've read in a Macbeth or what they've seen in a Blake painting or what, like wherever it is that they've ever heard the name Hekate. I want them to be able to understand that there is an aspect of Hekate that truly can touch everyone. I feel I really, really do. And so I use this as an opportunity to discuss the many different epithets of Hekate, and maybe if we're having a particular like astrological weather that I feel is like leaning one way, or a particular moon that's like leans this way, I might introduce that, like we're talking about Hekate Sotera tomorrow night on a Nomine Hekate, the dark moon gathering. And as the savior, it feels very Cancerian, right? Like it feels very like
Oh,
safe.
for
So
sure. Yeah.
right, so we'll talk about Hekate, a particular epithet, and then we do a little bit of astrology. I talk about like kind of what's going on, because it's always nice to be like, why do I feel like this? I
Right.
got you validated. I got you. But and then we do, on the dark moon, we do a communal dipnon and protection petition. So we come together and do a visualization. You can bring, of course, this is all virtual, so you can bring a dipnon in your mind's eye, or you can physically do it if you want a way to, like, I want to show up to Hekate once a month even, and I'm going to offer an egg, or I'm going to offer
Right.
some wine, whatever it is. And we come together, we talk about it, what the dipnon is, and then I do a little visualization with a protection petition for pneumonia. And
All right,
under the
for our
full
cousin
moon,
Joey, real quickly, could you
For cousin
describe
Joey.
what
Yeah,
that
cousin
is?
Joey.
We like to be a teaching hospital. So what is what is that you're talking about?
Yeah, so the Dipnon is a sacred supper for we do it for Hekate, and it usually happens on the dark moon, which is tomorrow night. And then for Numenia, the new moon, we typically would do a protection petition. So I kind of offer them all.
Is it a little like the Wiccan dumb supper where like you're silent during it? Or
I love doing that. I do that around Samhain. So this is actually a sacred supper that like an offering that would be left at the crossroads. And it came about when people would leave an offering at the crossroads to keep the spirits at bay, because Hekate was known, to come in and like help guide the spirits. So if they're wandering, this is kind of keeping them at bay. And it is done in reverence to Hekate at the crossroads. Also, people used to just also leave little offerings outside of their homes as well in late antiquity. So we do that. And usually I like to leave. I'm vegan, so I don't really do some things that are maybe as typically associated with Hekate. Like I don't do egg or meats or anything. But I'll do like dates and olives and herbs. But because
we use garlic for her too.
Garlic.
We use garlic for sure. Yeah.
Garlic. And because it's a communal Dipnon, there's like the supplementation, right? So like I have someone in the coven goes, I'm making eggs. Perfect. And someone's like, I'm offering like honey. Perfect. And so when we do our visualization, I have people like visualize that they're bringing the offering, coming together, maybe by a fire or by an altar that they're building in their mind's eye. And we can see the abundance that we all bring together as a circle, right? As opposed to just us alone, because none of us should feel like we're walking this path alone. It is a very intimate thing, but we should all feel like we have someone to kind of bounce things off of. And that's what a Nomine Hekate is. I want people to come together and feel like it really is a community that is for everyone.
So when you talk about the visualization, and I visited a lot of I do readings for a lot of women that are some of them are not initiated per se, but some of them are. And when I get into their subconscious, I'll see them sometimes if they're really enmeshed in her energy in the labyrinth itself with the torches, and the dogs are like there. And I know whether or not they're really welcome or not, because you can feel it. And it's I mean, so do you get the labyrinth stuff too? Do you get that?
As far as like what the visualization,
do you when you go into her, when you like travel into her energy, do you get the labyrinth as well?
I do get like that the wheel, like I get kind of like lost in the wheel, and sometimes I have to remind myself to kind of like come back up, because it is very much a labyrinth. And the deeper you go, sometimes the harder it is to retreat. But yeah, with the visualization that I'm talking about with the Nomine Hekate is I do a very simple visualization where everyone on the call can close their eyes and kind of imagine. I'll walk through. Maybe we're meeting at the ocean's end, or maybe we're meeting like on a plane, or maybe we're meeting like in the desert. But yeah, or in a forest, in an opening.
I just wanted to see if I was really touching their connection with her, because I do try to share that vision when I get the High Priestess card for somebody, so I can talk to them about what the High Priestess means, and it's that whole energy. It's her.
Oh yeah.
With the night sky behind her and all the mysteries, like that's cool.
Well, very those are complex. The two torches at the temple. So there's the hermetic quality and the witchy quality. Okay, so another question I wanted to ask is that you do have a book coming out.
I do.
Okay. So I do want to talk about that because that's something visceral and that we could touch and feel and get into. So what's going on with that?
So a year ago, a little over a year ago, I released a course, an 8-week course called Oracular Mediumship, a direct line to the divine, through miskatonicbooks.com. And it was the preface to this book that I was like, oh, I need to go even deeper. But oracular mediumship essentially restores what contemporary mediumship, in my opinion, may have largely lost.
Right.
Speaking
like Oracle of Delphi is what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I talk about it in terms of like a ritual framework because I am more of a practitioner as well. And sometimes mediums are more just like the medium, which is great too. But I come about it with a more like ritual framework. And I talk about ethical accountability and importantly, the sacred relationship between the practitioner and the spirit of these traditions, right? So it's organized around 8 oracular sites from ancient Greece and Egypt, and it moves the practitioner through a deliberate sequence of development. So preparation, listening, identity, descent, prophetic voice, sacred space, articulation, and then, of course, communion with the dead. And each site teaches something very specific that the next one builds on. So by the time you reach the Oracle of the Dead or the Necromantion, you are genuinely prepared for that interaction. So it is a book that pushes against more of the quick access to spirit and is for someone,
that's good,
wanting to develop a more meaningful exchange, I guess. So
that sounds like more of an old school initiation process through the mysteries, building upon these things so that when people are fully prepared, they can actually have the capacity to receive that kind of visualization and that kind of mediumship. That's cool. I like that a lot. That sounds really cool.
Sounds really amazing. Yeah. And for anyone that so many people ask me about beginner, mediumship for beginners, that's something I would actually feel confident to recommend because, well, I mean, you can't, 30 minutes on TikTok does not make you a medium. It just does.
No, it just, and there's just something that's become so fast food about mediumship to me that it felt really icky. And so I was like, I really want to approach this in a completely different way because had been teaching mediumship for years. And I was like, what is it that I am still like not feeling like I'm getting across? And it was the sacredness, because it is a sacred thing to be able to communicate with a spirit from a different realm. And one should understand that there are precautions that you take to prepare and like yourself, but just the space, you'll have a much more rich experience if you are going about, this preparation, learning how to listen beyond, I didn't hear an actual voice. That's okay because listening
everyone's gift is different. Everyone's
gift is different. There's so many different clairs. We don't have to be experts at all of them, but I guarantee you we each have at least one that is like present. And so we talk about that. And the book's going to be out this summer. It just went to binding last week on Friday, I think, went to binding. So it'll be up for pre-sales soon on miskatonicbooks.com. I'm really excited. And it's a very limited edition.
Right. Don't you worry. We're gonna put the links in
the show notes
on the description box and definitely let people know about that and do some promos for that. That's really cool because not everybody can take what they do with their classes and turn it into a book. And
I think I'll recommend it
that's for everybody.
For my store in DC to carry it too, because I get that, when I do show up at the store to be there, I always get the, where do I start if I were to, and that's do the work.
That.
Well, do the work though, do the work. think there's a book, and the title escapes me. It's like 3 months of Hekate prep to like deep dive. I don't know if you know which one it is. It's a white book, I think. But it's 3 months of your life, and it's a lot of like solace, like isolating yourself and just like
Is
not drink.
the Jason Miller book?
I think that that rings a bell. But it's an immense undertaking. My friend did it. Jada did it, and she was like, "This is not easy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, you're doing the work. Do the work.
You're doing the work. It shouldn't be easy,
It's
right?
not
Like,
gonna be easy."
Well, yeah. The fast food spirituality of this modern time is
we're obsessed with
it's
like,
tough. It's tough.
productivity and polarity. And going back to Hekate, she definitely reminds us that we're in that in-between state. And that in-between state is what is sacred, because it's that friction point, right? When we're in not here, not there yet. And we're just like, that friction part is what causes fire and that passion within us and that drive within us. And what we do next defines like the next however long that we're going to be on that particular path. But it is creation, right? Liminality is creation.
Collectively, we're all looking at how do we light all of these people up, right? How do we get the mass collective candle lit? And I think that that's part of our path too, as practitioners. And I can see that you're doing that. Yeah, but I can see you're doing that, and it's kind of a, it's a sacred path for us practitioners to do. And the last question I had for you actually is just, do you have any comments about, because I haven't been there in a minute to practice, but what are your thoughts on LA witchcraft and the scene there? Like, how do you feel about that?
Goosebumps. It is okay. Prior to moving here, I would have not thought how electric this city actually is when it comes to left-hand path or witchcraft or spirituality at all. Would not have been able to even understand. It is extremely open and accepting of all the things. I've never felt more comfortable with just saying what I do, because even someone who has no idea what I'm talking about is genuinely curious, because I feel like LA as a very, postmodern city, people come here seeking and like are whoever whether it's film or music or spirituality or whatever it is, they're coming, like if you're coming here, you're looking for something that maybe was not offered or not available to you wherever it was that you did move from. And everyone is so open. I feel like the witchcraft community is vibrant. I feel like it's extremely layered, and I don't know. I mean, Crooked Path, like from the first time I went in there, they were very like welcoming and wait, you're a devotee of Hekate? There's a temple upstairs. What? It's a wonderful community, and I mean, there's something witchy going on all the time, and whether it's witch light or hardcore, like nitty gritty, let's get our hands dirty and stuff. It's available. It's available, and I think.
Well, I like to ask that question because not everybody, like people sometimes think LA is like it's not like real. They think it's all just Hollywood and all fantasy, but
Hollywood,
I just wanted, like, because you and Scarlett asked this question, because I wanted people to know that there is really a ton of really groovy, in tune, real witchy people there that are practicing, that are not Disney related. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real place.
That are really practicing. People are really practicing, and if if you go someplace and you get involved with a community and you're like, you know what, maybe that's not for me, that's cool. There's another community that
Keep it
you will
moving.
find something.
Right.
It's available. You just gotta, like, you don't have to look very hard.
I
We're
felt
everywhere
pockets
here.
of power there, like just in weird different. Every neighborhood had its own pocket of power. Koreatown, like everything had its own vibe, and it was. I was surprised myself too. I was like, I didn't know. Where you just think it's like that faux reality before you get there, and then you find out.
The occult, right? It's hidden.
Yeah,
Those who
it's hidden.
those who want to see can see, and those who are not
Literally
meant
what
to
the
see
word
will
means.
not.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Literally what the word means. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, listen, I think that we have more to talk about, and I would like to get even more into just specifically Hekate next time we talk.
Yes.
And maybe get into her mysteries a little bit and delve deeper into that, because I'm sure you have a lot more to say. This is more of a get to know you.
I love it.
I'd
Yeah,
also
well, maybe
like
we
to
could
say,
go over your book as it gets released, and
yeah,
maybe you
I'd love
could
to do
walk
that.
us through some of the different sites, you know,
That
I
whole,
would love
I
that.
mean, even just a primer on that, just to go through it and talk about it.
Right.
That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
I would love
I
that.
just want to say to the community that's watching this, like and subscribe, of course, but I also would love to hear some comments about anything anyone wants to talk about. Anybody who wants to be a guest, become part of the community. We appreciate y'all out there, and we appreciate the support.
You certainly
Mandy,
do.
it was wonderful to have you on today. I would love to have you on again.
My
Appreciate you
pleasure.
very much for sharing your
Absolutely.
story and, you know, the vulnerability you shared. We appreciate
It's
that.
really nice to hear from somebody that understands where I'm coming from as a medium too, you know, so it's really great.
Oh,
Indeed.
hey, anytime y'all want to talk, I am here. So
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate
hail
it.
Hekate from one medium also to another, you know. May the spirits bless you both.
Thank you. Right back at you. Temporal divinity forms they're wild, man. They're wild.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I get you.
All right.
All
One
right.
love to the community out there, and we'll see you again on Walking the Crossroads. Thank you, guys.